Hi there, welcome to Boss Up. I'm Nicole Jones, your host of Boss Up, where we teach you how to start, grow, and sustain your business. I am super excited to come to the room with you guys again to introduce you to a very special guest, Brandy Shelton of Just Add Honey. Brandy, there?
Yes, hello, Nicole. How are you?
I am doing well. How are you?
Very well, very well.
Awesome. Well, I am so glad to sit with you today virtually. One day we got to be in the shop and have some tea together. But I wanted to have you on the show because I feel your story is remarkable. It's very telling, and I think it's going to tell the true story of not only entrepreneurship, but also how to sustain a business. So before we get started, I just did a quick introduction as to who you are and what company you own here in Atlanta, Georgia. But can you tell us a little bit more about yourself and then we'll dive a little bit deeper?
Sounds good. My name is Brandy Shelton, and I am the founder and co-owner of Just Add Honey Tea Company. We call ourselves a lifestyle tea brand because we find ways for tea lovers around the world to sip tea a little bit differently. We're fancy without the fuss. I create and blend wonderful loose leaf teas that anyone can enjoy, um, whether it's reminiscent of a time with your grandmother or a faraway trip or just Sunday dinner. We make all these wonderful blends that kind of warm your heart and are to be enjoyed with others or by yourself.
Awesome, awesome. So now that you guys, your mouth might be watering, you might be a little parched based on her description of just add honey. um, there is something that I really want to celebrate, which I want to start the show off with just congratulating you. I've already messaged you before, but congratulating you again on 15 years of entrepreneurship with Just Add Honey. That is something to celebrate.
It was really just a hobby that I started. And what I love about tea is that it shows up how you need it to, whether you need to get going or you need to slow down. And so that's what it did for me. And that's what I saw it doing for others. So I just kept showing up for tea. And here we are 15 years later. And some days I feel like I just starting class all over again because technology and the way we do business changes so rapidly. And then sometimes I'm like, I know this, I'm a veteran. So every day it looks different depending on what's happening in our world.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. That's amazing. And the reason why I wanted to start with that particular congratulations again, because it kind of sets the tone for where I want to go with this particular discussion in terms of having and knowing what to do to sustain a company. And really, it's the onset, the early work that you did, the groundwork, the in the trenches work that allowed you to stay within the business that you're in today and being able to expand and keep up with the, like you said, the technology, to keep up with the trends that might be happening and being able to sustain not only your business, but the cultural and the comforting feeling that you get to sharing tea with your by yourself or with other people. So if you could take us back to the early stages of Little Brandy, just add honey. What did that look like, and what made you decide? You know what? I can actually see this flourishing into a business that has longevity.
Yeah, so we started just doing festivals and farmers markets and pop-ups. And one of our first farmers markets was at a really busy uh, park, a really large park here in Atlanta, Georgia. And the way I initially had it set up was what I wanted. And I had tins of tea for um, 10, 15, $30. And I would watch people pass me or pick it up and say, this is pretty. And, um, and they kept running or they kept with their activities or they spent time buying produce and things. And so I saw, I was getting discouraged. And something in me said, one, the price point was too high for the market that I was in. Two, the packaging was discouraging because they were tins and they couldn't see all the beauty that was inside the tin. So I ran to IKEA and bought all these glass jars, and I started presenting the tea in glass jars. And I made the price point something that it was easily cash transaction. So I started just weighing it out by the ounce versus this bulky, beautiful packaging. And that way they could stick it in their fanny pack or their pouch. Um, and so I watched and I listened to the customer. Now, I still to this day, that is who, I mean, with some moderation, but that's who runs our business, is our customer. So they tell us what they like, they tell us what they want, and we stay true to ourselves, but we find a way to reach them in a way that's accessible to them. And so literally that one change of scooping it out beautifully or being able to see the tea or price pointing it instead of like packaging it in 10, 20 ounces. I was packaging it in smaller micro doses. They were coming back every week. They were spending, in long term, spending more money. And we were having more sales and getting the word out of our tea. So that was like one little thing in the first year. Well, it had to be the second because the first year I was just like, seriously, how am I going to sell this? But by the second year, it made, that was like, that was what the key that has never changed. Our customers are who are we are servicing, so we listen to them and give them what they want.
I love that. I love that. Yeah, first year for quite a few people, and sometimes even the second year can be like a wash. But I think what's really key to what you just mentioned was you listened to the customer. You were paying attention to how they were attracted to your brand and what you were offering as a service, which was tea. And you was like, okay, let me change this because from an aesthetic standpoint, the tea is a part of your branding. If you think about your branding colors and what that looks like, what does your logo look like? The tea also becomes a part of that aesthetic. So you added that element in addition to being able to understand what is the customer actually telling me versus you comparing yourself to other competitors to say, well, let me do it that way. If I put it in a shiny metallic tin, maybe they'll buy it. And you're like, no, 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 no. This is where I need to go.
Exactly. Yes. And it's made the world of difference. And 15 years later, we still have our teas in glass jars and we still weigh it out and allow the customer to say, hey, I just want to try this. And so I, I always remember other tea companies forcing a certain amount in your hand. And so a tea lover, they, they have all different types of tea in their pantry. They have all types of tea in their shelves, just like we have all different types of clothing. And so if I force you to buy more than what you really came in to get, I might not ever see you again. You may fall in love with it, but you may not. So I want you to fall in love with it and want to come back for more versus me just making a quick dime off of you instead of slow nickels and us building a relationship, that's what tea is. You celebrate with a cup of tea in the morning, you end your day with a cup of tea and everything in between. So we want to keep seeing you. And so yeah,
I
15
love
years.
that. I love that. I love that. I can't wait to see the next 15 years plus in terms of like your expansion, your growth, and what that looks like.
Meet the Scan, a simple procedure whose mission is to detect lung cancer early.
I'm here to save you!
But I feel fine.
That's great, but you may still be at high risk for lung cancer.
Oh man, that's a new fence.
If you smoke, early detection could save your life. Learn more at savedbythescan.org.
You had this epiphany based on what your grandmother had done. Saved money for 6 months, paid off debt, slept on the floor. And because of this conversion moment, you literally are sitting on the board of a bank that wouldn't have even given you a loan.
I was a pastor of a church. I was spending so much money dressing like a preacher, driving preacher cars. If I'm spirit filled, the same Holy Ghost that makes me shout can make me wait until I can afford a BMW and stop giving money, donating money to big banks, paying them 18% interest for the right to use their credit card to buy something I can't afford. It's a mentality.
I'm curious because, as people are listening to this, this is just one industry. This is the tea industry. Some people might even say the wellness industry in terms of how you're able to sustain in this lane. Um, what were the fears, or were there any fears initially going into this industry of wellness and the tea industry that you were like, I don't know if I could do this, or did you feel like it was saturated, or you just went in like, this is the direction I need to go. I know that in my heart of hearts. Like, what did that look like for you?
I think the fears didn't come until maybe 7 or 8, year 7 or 8. Initially, if I came from the film and print industry, so I had a job, uh, uh, or what you think is a job, and so it was fun. And year 7 or 8 is when because I move slower than maybe some like maybe my competition. I'm not the hare. I have sometimes tortoise behavior because I guess perfectionist meets procrastination. But year 7 or 8 is when people started like that imposter syndrome that, oh, people are listening, do I really know what I'm talking about? It's oh, somebody's now asking me for my help to start their own business because I appear, or I have arrived, or there's a level of success that comes along with the name of Just Add Honey. Can I share with them? Will I let them down? Will I, do I know what I'm doing? Or are my words valuable? Like, do I matter? Am I making a difference in the wellness world? Like, all of those questions came up like as we started growing more, or the recognition started showing up. And so I guess it's just leaning into that and figuring out where that comes from, and and hearing it instead of ignoring it, because there's something to it, right? Whether
Yeah.
it is true or not, there is still something to it. And so how do I um, address the noise, not necessarily quiet it, just address the noise so that I can show up for the person that needs me, because somebody does need me. And it's that somebody is myself, that somebody is that tea drinker, or that future business owner, or that little brown girl that looks like me that, plays shopkeep and now wants to have their own because they saw us. So
Mhm.
just answering those questions that I had inside, and keep being honest, sometimes I don't have it all together, and I can say that without feeling shame. But or if I don't know the answer, I don't know the answer, but let me help you. Let us find it together, or makes a huge difference.
Yeah, no, that's great feedback. I love that. What that tells me is essentially, which is, first of all, I think that's amazing. Not until you're 7 or 8 that you felt that level of self-doubt, or just started questioning your evolution. That just, for it just varies depending on what business you're in and who you are as a person and what's going on in your personal life, that those questions start to come in as you, go throughout the years of your business. So I think that is just commendable. I think one of the key takeaways is just to understand, and this is pun intended. You can't pour into others if you can't pour into yourself. Just to play on the T phrase, but essentially, is what you're saying is like I needed to understand like this level of growth that I was actually seeing, that I actually had envisioned or had prayed for. Now that I'm actually getting the recognition, and for some people that might even be their validation that I am a successful entrepreneur, business owner, that you have to stay the course. Like this is at that point, it's that point of pivot where you're seeing new levels of opportunity. You're able to make new business engagements you probably have never even thought about in your vision board. If you're one of those people that creates vision boards, so you just have to prepare yourself, which is what it sounds like you did mentally, to accept this level of acceptance to this new audience that's just now identifying you and recognizing the work that you've been doing the past 7, 8 years and now 15.
Yeah. Yes.
That is awesome. That is awesome. So, okay, let's turn to the sustainability part of that, because we got the understanding of the early beginnings. You understood that the market was not saturated, and this is the avenue that I knew I could take my time in. I think we even coined the term, you were steeping those relationships with people.
Yes, I love
To make
that. I
the right
use it all
move.
the time now.
But those relationships and that time and that those quiet moments where you're able to just focus and just understand what you want to see as success in your business has allowed you to be sustainable and allow you to be where you are today. What are some other tools or resources or support systems that other entrepreneurs should know as they reach their milestone in their business, 5, 10, 15, 20 years, to see the future that's ahead, to keep going? Like, what are some tips that you have for that?
Um, Ask for help. And it's something very still hard to do, but when I find that I'm not asking, the help that I'm asking for is sometimes intangible, right? It's like, just, hey, this is a rough moment. Can you guys keep me in your prayers if that's what you need, or um, uh, asking for help is like, I can't do my own bookkeeping. I tried, and I'm not good at it. So, uh, you're either going to spend your time or you're going to spend your money. So, um, they're both extremely valuable, and making
Mhm.
that business plan and making sure that you budget for that. Some things will require money, and no matter how much time you put into it, allowing a professional to help you in the areas where you're not your best or it's not your zone of genius will save
Mm,
you time to make you more money. Um, so that's super important with sustainability. And also, everything is not, or everyone is not your customer. Um, we certain social media trends or certain ways of capturing audiences that are trendy. Um, we may lean into it a little bit, but we stay true to our mission statement, why we were started, and who we are, and we evolve within that same mission statement, but we don't um, change to meet a quick dollar or the current demand. So, yes, we might do social media reels. There might be some pop culture involved in that. But for the most part, we stay in our true tea lover fashion, to where how we reach and capture our audiences.
I love
And that
that. I
helps
love
with sustainability with your brand. And it also doesn't drive you crazy, to keep up with what everybody else is doing wears you out,
Yeah.
and it doesn't even leave room for creativity. Like, you can't even move to the next thing or even what you want to do if you're always like chasing behind what everyone else is doing anyway.
Yes.
So
Yeah, yeah, and that's something like we alluded to at the top of the call, at the top of this interview is, you made the idea or made the transition to go from the tins to the clear containers for your items because you knew that would help sell the customer. And there's something that you just mentioned, like everyone is not your customer. So how did you learn to navigate those waters? Like, how do you know your audience?
It's it goes back to your mission statement. It goes back to who you say you want to be and who you set out to be in terms of your brand. It may change, um, but it may not. If you use a big brand company, um, like a moving company, they may add on arms to their brand, and they may do things that are complement their brand, but they, on the core of who they are, they're a moving company. Just like we're a tea company, we add on, uh, like we partner with coffee and we partner with other things, but we are a loose leaf tea brand. So that is who we have to stay to and who we have to be. Um, Otherwise, you lose money, you lose time, you confuse your audience, you confuse yourself, and sometimes the doubt. That's where that doubt creeps in. That's where their authenticity comes in, um, because you're not being authentic or true to who you set out to be or what you set out to be. Because it's a great idea, but every great idea isn't necessarily your idea. So staying true to who you are and what your brand stands for and what it means, will keep you around and keep you sane.
No, I love that. That makes total sense. I mean, we just really have to find, as you were saying that, it allowed me to think that we just need to keep and find our North Star because as soon as we start veering left or right from what we actually thought we wanted to do in our business, then we just have to like recalculate, recalibrate, and get back to that North Star and say, what was my initial mission for this company, this business, and the customers that I wanted to serve? And for you, it's loose leaf tea. Like that is the empire. That is our direction. So no matter if we do partnerships or what have you, pop-ups, loose leaf tea is going to be the end all, or the breadwinner for this, the bread and butter for this, versus trying to go down different avenues that don't necessarily make sense.
You had this epiphany based on what your grandmother had done. Saved money for 6 months, paid off debt, slept on the floor. And because of this conversion moment, you literally are sitting on the board of a bank that wouldn't have even given you a loan.
I was a pastor of a church. I was spending so much money dressing like a preacher, driving preacher cars. If I'm spirit filled, the same Holy Ghost that makes me shout can make me wait. Wait until I can afford a BMW and stop giving money, donating money to big banks, paying them 18% interest for the right to use their credit card to buy something I can't afford. It's a mentality.
Well, Brandy, thank you so much. This has been amazing. Again, I congratulate you for 15 years of business and some. I'm super excited to know what more you have in store for these upcoming years. And I definitely want to make my way down to, off the belt line in Atlanta. So if you guys don't know, Just Add Honey is literally a walk right off of the belt line. And it's awesome. You can go in and have some tea, some baked goods, some macaroons. So Brandy, you want to share a little bit about your storefront and what that looks like?
Totally. This is our fourth location. We've on and often had iterations of other locations, but now this is our flagship store with our production space right next to it, which makes it amazing. So we have over 8,000 square feet right there off the Beltline. Uh, in terms of production and retail. We have a retail cafe with outdoor seating, ceiling fans, great music, amazing tea. We partner with local woman-owned bakers around Atlanta for our macaroons and our cookies and cakes and muffins. We have local beekeepers, locally and regionally sourced, fun tea accessories, and it's just really a good time. Like I said, it's fancy without the fuss. So you can put your pinkies in the air, or you can just come right off of a bike ride with your girlfriend for a cup of tea. So it's a great place to be, and we're in between Krog and Pont City Market. If you're on the East Side Beltline Trail, closer to Krog, right near Ladybird, Rathbun's, and all kind of other fun things in the area.
Awesome, awesome. And what's the address?
684 John Wesley Dobbs Avenue, and that's in Atlanta, and right centrally located in between Old Fourth Ward and Emmon Park.
Yes, I love that area. So many great spots to like just nestle and just chill out for a while. So definitely check out Just Add Honey. Again, thank you, Brandy. Any final words for entrepreneurs in the space of just starting and sustaining their business?
Um, find you a boss up friend that you can lean on, because entrepreneurship can be lonely at times. And so having that other person to um, act as a listening ear uh, can definitely help your brand and your business and it's a form of self-care too, knowing that you're not alone and that you can share your wins and your trials with someone else.
Awesome. Well, Brandy, thank you so much. I appreciate you being here. Definitely will be stopping by the shop to just hang out and have some tea. But for all of you that are tuned in, thank you. I hope you learned a great deal of information today on sustaining your business, knowing when to and how to handle those times where you have self-doubt. But make sure you tune into us because we can be your boss up friend, like Brandy mentioned. To help you along your way of starting your journey and your starting or sustaining or growing your business, we can be here for you. So make sure you tune into the next episode of Boss Up.